Asked to explain the math of a $4.8 trillion tax cut. And you know what he said? I don't have time. Governor Romney had a masterful theatrical performance just this past week, but the underpinnings and foundation of that performance were fundamentally dishonest. If you're willing to say anything to get elected president, if you're willing to make up your positions and walk away from them, I think the American people have to understand, how can they trust you if you are elected president?
Is calling Romney and Ryan liars a good strategy? And couldn't it backfire on the president? He's supposed to be so likable. Well, here to weigh in, our Washington Insider's Republican strategist, Amelia Chasse, and Democratic pollster, Margie O'Meara. Good to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Margie, it does sound like, according to the New York Times today, 10 minutes before the end of the debate, they were on a conference call, Team Obama was, and they were talking about, okay, he stunk up the place. We're going to have to go, full steam ahead on a new attack, and it's going to be that Romney is a liar. Is that what they're going to do from here on out?
Well, I think anytime you hear Mitt Romney express a different position than he had the day before, I think it's important for voters to know. And I think that we'd be talking about Mitt Romney's loose interpretation of the facts, regardless of what people thought of the president's performance. I mean, his own, and you don't have to take my words for it, his own campaign walked back some of what Romney said about covering people with pre-existing conditions in his health care plan. Newt Gingrich, Meet the Press yesterday said, well, he's changed on
Margie,
taxes.
wasn't the president lying, though, when he repeatedly said that Mitt Romney was going to raise taxes $5 trillion? Stephanie Cutter's come out and said, essentially, it won't be near $5 trillion. So wasn't that a lie?
Well, no, it's not a lie, because Mitt Romney won't say what loopholes he's going to close. He won't say he refuses to really walk through the math. Even Paul Ryan on this network said, I don't have time to deal with that, in a very derisive way. And voters want the facts. They don't want spin. They don't want just hubris. They want someone who's really going to show up with the facts and really walk them through the math. And you haven't seen Mitt Romney do it. You see him take a variety of different positions, and you don't see Paul Ryan do it either.
Okay, you're following the talking points. Mitt and Ryan are big fat liars. Amelia, do you think that's effective? Don't you think that could backfire on this president, who one of the great things he's got going for him is he's been so likable, and now if they go, play gutterball, that could take its toll?
Well, the Obama campaign's really gone through sort of 7 stages of grief after this terrible debate performance, haven't they? We started with denial, then we went to the blame game, blaming everyone from the city of Denver and their altitude to Robert Gibbs' own former boss, John Kerry. And they finally settled on calling Mitt Romney a big liar, like you said. It's easy to understand why they're doing it. The president's approval rating is down 6 points in the Gallup poll. He's below 50% after the debate. But what we're seeing, what we saw on the Sunday shows yesterday from senior Obama administration officials, is what we saw from the president Wednesday, a campaign and a candidate with nothing to say to the American people. And it's so ironic, because this is a president who, as you mentioned, hope and change in 2008. Now the campaign slogan is forward. You would think they'd be desperate to move forward after a disastrous debate performance like that. But no, they've been in neutral or even reverse for 5 days, harping on it because they don't have a positive message.
Margie,
Mitt Romney has been
it's not just people on the right like Amelia who are giving the president grief over his appearance. Bill Maher over the weekend on his show said, remember Bill Maher gave $1 million to the president's super PAC, said it looked like Barack Obama took my million and spent it all on weed. Of course, he's just joking, but nonetheless, everybody's befuddled by his performance.
Yeah, I think, look, a lot of people on the left and the right are using pretty extreme language, and you're seeing, a bit of a bump for Romney in the polls. I think it's important to remember a couple things. First, Mitt Romney has been net unfavorable all year. It's going to take more than one debate to change that all year. Two, you have more people optimistic about the direction of the country than you've seen since early in 2009. You have good jobs numbers, and you have instead a Republican Party that is rooting for bad news, literally rooting for bad news and suspicious when there's good news. And then three, you have a Republican candidate who, whether it's Mitt Romney's off-the-cuff comments or Paul Ryan's off-the-cuff comments, really dismiss a huge portion of the electorate as victims who think they deserve food. I mean, that is such extreme language, and we're going to continue to talk about that.
Amelia, we'll give you the final word.
Absolutely. Again, don't take my words for the validity of these claims the Obama campaign's making. Take Stephanie Cutters, as you mentioned. She was lasted breaking points about a minute on CNN before she got fact-checked and had to admit that her claims just didn't hold water. And, you know, to get serious for a second, the American people are looking for someone who's going to focus on substantive issues. We saw Mitt Romney do that in the debate. We didn't see Barack Obama do that. And in the days since, when, you know, you couldn't blame Mitt Romney for taking a victory lap and trying to focus on the debate, he hasn't done that. He's moved on. He's talked about his plan to raise take-home pay for the middle class, to create millions of jobs, and today he's giving a major foreign policy address. So we've got one candidate focusing on substance and the other with nothing to say.
And, of course, the next stop will be Joe Biden versus Paul Ryan Thursday. It's going to be good. Amelia and Margie, thank you both for joining us today from Washington.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. 29 minutes now after the top of the hour. Next up on the rundown for this Columbus Day, who's really funding President Obama's campaign? Get this, nearly half of his support may not even be from Americans. Did we mention that it could also be illegal? A stunning new report you'll only hear on Fox and Friends coming up next. Then this won't be the happiest day of their lives. A massive brawl breaks out between two wedding parties. And happy birthday to Chevy Chase. Not the suburb, the comic. He's 69.
Today's birthday is brought to you by Charmin Ultra Soft. Using less never felt so good. Enjoy the